Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another video. Now this is actually the third take I've done of this video. The second one was actually okay, but the amount of time it was actually taking, it was like a 32-minute video, of which probably about 80% of it was me doing a mega waffle. I'm actually going to sort of, I decided to quit that and start again. I realise it's been quite a long time since I've done a video. It's probably been the best part of 6, 7, maybe even 8 weeks. I've mainly been taking up that time just deciding what I'm going to do next. I actually did zero painting. This unit here is the which I've done in the last 10 days. Is the only thing I've painted in all that time. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically just cover these guys in this video, so that I don't really want a sort of half-an-hour video for just one unit. That's a bit ridiculous. So what I'll do is I'll do a video on these guys, and then I might consider doing another video just explaining my plans for the future. Or maybe I should just leave it up to you guys. If you want me to do another video telling you what my future plans are, or would you rather just wait in suspense and I'll announce them as sort of things come in? Because I think just me waffling for probably 10 or 20 minutes is probably going to be really boring. So, like, if you do fancy me doing a specific video on me procrastinating on what I was going to do and finally coming up with sort of plans, you know, be warned, I could theoretically waffle on for ages about it, because it was you know, it's taken me probably a good 6 or 7 weeks to even sort out what I was actually going to do. You know, these guys here kind of you know, they're kind of on the books anyway, because of course these guys are actually part of the cavalry division that I've almost completed on the end of my last sort of set of videos. Now these guys are the 11th Cuirasier, and they're part of the 11th Cavalry Division, which are part of the 3rd Reserve Cavalry Division, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, the 3rd Reserve Cavalry Corps, and they are the 11th Cavalry Division. And they're made up of 2 units of Dragoons and 2 units of Cuirassier. Now, I do have the... I can't remember which Dragoon unit I've already done. It could be the 7th. And I did the 8th Cuirassier in my last update on them. Those guys are just up here on the shelf here, and I did actually get the flags in for these guys, so these guys are now flagged up, which is cool. And these guys, I had to... something odd about the 11th Cuirassier, and the fact that they didn't actually wear cuirasses. So I had to basically either you know, come up with an idea of doing them cheap, and now a rather good idea was given to me by Brush and Quill at some point, saying that, well, why don't you do, like, get another box of like Perry's Dragoons in and make those guys the 11th. And I think theoretically you probably could get away with that, but I thought, well, you know, I've got to get another box of Dragoons at some point anyway, and Perry's don't actually do metal Dragoons, so and not many other companies do either. I think I've checked most of the main ones. Warlord don't, obviously. Perry's only do plastic. I think Front Rank do, but I think you have to. They don't do battalion. They don't do like a regimental pack, so you have to like buy the figures and the horses separately, which is going to be ridiculously expensive. Probably about £5 or maybe even £6 a figure, which is ridiculous. I don't think anyone else does. I think I checked Elite Miniatures as well. They don't do them. So I'm basically going to have going to have to buy another box of Perry's Dragoons at some point to finish these guys off. But these guys, like I say, are the 11th, and they're all metal, which is slightly different for me because I've never actually done an entire unit of metal cavalry before. They painted up really well. It was nice not to have to put them together. Again, I was using hot glue to stick them to their milk bottle tops, and that worked really well. And I actually also used hot glue to stick the figures, even though they had little tiny metal bits on the bottom of their feet. I actually found that hot glue, if you put a big blob over that sort of fixing point, then they actually hold to the bottle tops just as well, and that actually worked really well, and I think it did actually speed up my painting of the actual troops themselves quite a bit. Sticking them to the horses, I did use super glue for the majority of them, but I think I had 3 guys that no matter what I tried, they just wouldn't stick down, so I just again used the hot glue blob which worked a treat. I did actually stick them down to their to the bases with super glue again, but I think there's a couple that are stuck with hot glue again because no matter how hard I tried, the super glue just wouldn't adhere to the the base. So once again, hot glue has saved the day. They're really nice models. They obviously come in packs of 3. I'll show you the first sort of the first stand. They come in 3 poses. On this particular stand here, we've got 2 of them. So we have one with the close in with the sabre close to the shoulder, and one with the sabre just slightly down from the shoulder. So that's the first 2 poses. Really nice figures. Show you them chestnut on a bay horse. And of course they've got the musketoons, which is kind of cool. And as you can see, a great coat roll rather than Cuirassier. I suppose that could give a little bit of protection against a sabre cut. Then next up we have the pseudonym command squad. Now something I actually did on all my cavalry units was I actually made the pseudonym command squad have a sergeant as its sort of command officer, so I've actually painted on sergeant markings on all of my cavalry. You know, my chasseurs de cheval, the 1 unit of dragoons I've got, and of course the 2 units of Cuirassier. And I think, is that a bay? No, I think that's a black. I actually read that they did actually have some black horses in this particular regiment, and I think possibly in all Cuirassier units, the 3 breeds of horses that they used were black, bay and chestnut, where of course most French units tended to just use bays and chestnuts, and only like the you know, I believe the what are they called? Oh, I've forgotten their name. But the other unit that you can build out of French heavy cavalry, the ones that are white, temporarily forgotten their names, but I think they had a whole regiment of black horses. But of course, the French philosophy on black horses was that if they had any markings, they were slightly inferior. So I made sure that because obviously all the best horses, all the best pure black horses would go to the Imperial Guard, and the ones that have got markings would go down to other units that can afford them. And I guess these guys get some of the you know, where probably in fact there's actually no difference, just because one's got, you know, a bit of a white marking on its nose, that it's any less good a horse than one that's just purely black. But anyway, that's the the NCO stand, or the pseudonym command squad that I always have in my cavalry, because if you split them into units of 3, then they get some kind of command denoted by the NCO. So that's the second unit, and of course the third pose is also here. So this is the third pose of infantry that you get, and he's kind of got his sword down at a gallop, I suppose that would be. But yeah, pretty cool position actually. So that is the command. Now, something I did forget to mention was that on this particular sergeant here, he actually had a mismoulded little puff on top of his helmet there. And if you look carefully, you can see that they're basically different. And it's because I used a little bit of plastic putty to make one for him, because it was sort of mismoulded and wasn't there. So that was just a little bit of an addition, which was mismoulded, but nothing super worrying to the actual figure itself. The third unit, both with chestnut horses. Again, when I started these guys, I basically did all the horses first. They took about sort of 10 days of about 2 or 3 hour painting sessions a day, and the actual horses themselves painted up quite quickly, but the real time taker was the saddle work and the bridle work. Again, that like really slows you down. It probably took the best part of maybe 3 or 4 days of the 10 to actually to do all that. Not only is it, you know, quite tedious and delicate, but you know, by the time you've put you know, base coated and built the white up, and then you've gone around the saddle and you built the blue up, and then you put the bedroll on, and then you put all the black strapping on, and then there's bits where you miss, and you know, you miss the strapping and you have to go back and touch the horse back up. It's all very time consuming and quite tedious. So that is the third unit. Then we have the first company. Now originally I was going to put both of the first company in the same position, but I made an error. So we've got just basically exactly the same position as the stand behind them, of the 2 poses with the sabres up. But it doesn't make any difference really, to tell the truth. Either of those stands could be counted as the first, because there's actually no difference in uniform, unlike other units of French cavalry that have like different hats or different coloured tufts or whatever. So that is the first company. Again, a bay and a chestnut. Then we'll go for the standard. So here we have a black horse for the standard bearer, and every now and then you come across a few clumps of static grass. So yeah, a black horse, which is actually, like I say, I think I mentioned it, I can't remember if I have, but if you look really closely, it's kind of black and dark brown, very, very dark brown. And of course I made sure that all my black horses had some kind of marking. So that is the standard, and of course they've got their flag, which is quite a long time in coming. So that is the standard bearer, and of course the standard bearer came in the command pack along with the officer and the bugler. So here we have the command squad, or the command stand, and we have the officer, who does actually have a cuirass. and he has a black horse with just a little tiny dab of a white marking. Quite a nice officer figure. And then we have the bugler on his white grey horse, and you can see these guys have got like a sort of I don't know, a sort of caramelly brown sort of breeches. I basically use, and the officer obviously has white. I actually use ivory on his trousers or his breeches to give them like a really bright white. And now these guys, for their trousers or their breeches, I used 2 colours. Now, if I'm able to find those, because when I was clearing space to make the video, I mixed all my paints up. I think the first colour is Old Wood, which I used as a base colour, and then I used Tan Earth, which is here, to highlight it, and it came out pretty much colour matched to the illustration. Is that it there, in fact? No, it's cork brown. I don't know where Old Wood is at the moment, but it's basically kind of a slightly darker version of Tan Earth. So that's the colour that I used for the breeches of the standard troopers. And you can see on the bugler, exactly the same style of uniform top as the other unit of Cuirassiers, the 8th, is it? The 8th, yeah, the 8th. You can see that I've done the little tiny, well, they're actually just little dabs of paint, but it makes out as if they've got the little motifs that they had, which was a little Imperial Eagle and an N, going right the way along the facings, or the ribbons, and the bugler's cord, which is white with like red stripes. Again, I tried to sort of replicate that. I think it looks really good. So that is and of course white for the plume and white for the top and the bugler. And that is the end of the 11th. Hope you enjoyed a little look at these guys. I actually really like them. It's I've got to admit, I really enjoyed painting these metal cavalry up. I suppose some of it could be where I hadn't painted for a while, and it was just nice to get back into the groove. Hopefully, I'm kind of out of the Pyrrhonic stuff again, because my other order hasn't come in yet, and of course Classic from Whaling Games. But like I say, if you wish me to do this is an 18-minute video already. If you want me to do a video on a waffle of my ideas of what I'm going to do, just zap it in the comments. I don't know if you guys would be up for a, it could possibly be like a 20-minute waffle. I could also describe the mega game of Black Powder I had as well, which I played during a lot of the time that I was actually not painting. I basically had this massive battle of Black Powder, where I basically utilised every unit I had from both my French and my British armies, and it was massive, and it took absolutely ages to play, but it was really good fun. And it goes to show that by using a few sort of house rules, you can actually fit a lot of miniatures onto a 6x4 table quite comfortably. So I have actually crept up in a few subscribers since my last video, so thank you to those guys. I hope you enjoy the content, and I guess I'll catch you all in the next one. Now, if you don't want me to do the sort of my next sort of project plans video, there might be a little bit of a delay in my next video, because like I say, I'm basically in the process of ordering stuff and waiting for stuff to come in. So I'm basically out of stuff to paint. I did actually manage to find or scrape together a bunch of Perry's Voltigeurs, which I was thinking about doing, but I don't know. Do I really need another bunch of just Voltigeurs on their own, or Voltigeurs on their own? I don't know. So I might possibly do those. But until next time, I'll catch you all later. Bye bye.